Hi, folks. I learned a very good lesson. I was at a Christmas party. I've been to quite a few Christmas parties. Since the pandemic is over, it's been really great. But I learned a valuable lesson. Do not discuss Bitcoin at Christmas or family or when you gather with friends, because it is kind of like a religion now. And, I'll say this disclaimer first. This channel is not for investment advice. I am not an investment advisor. And, this is only for entertainment purposes. Go to a qualified advisory jurisdiction if you want investment advice. But so here it was. I was having a discussion with a good friend and is saying, hey, what are investments like? Like, is it ETFs, whatever it is? And he started to tell me part of his investments is in Bitcoin. And I started to ask him, why would you invest in that? Like, why would you? And he was in deep. And I said, why would you invest in that? And he said to me, listen, he sees a use case for it. He sees a future in it. And, he started to talk about the folks who talk a lot about Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor and Kathy Wood and all of that stuff. And I was trying to say to him, let's look at the chart together. And when we looked at the chart, and see how Bitcoin has performed, it depends on when you got into it. I mean, some folks got into it 10 years ago and they're like, whoa, this is a great investment. Folks who got in it last year, they're way underwater. And it's that type of asset. I don't know if I should call it an asset. It's this type of cryptocurrency that I don't know what the value is based on, because it's not like a stock that issues dividend that you could say, hey, you're going to get this dividend from it, so therefore this is the PE ratio, all of that stuff. No, it's not a real estate asset like land or anything like that is always valuable to someone to utilize to develop a property or anything like that. And so what determines its value? And it seems like it's always what someone else is prepared to pay for it. And I've looked at some policy papers on it and different articles on it, and one of the things that I can say is it's one of those assets that I am intrigued by. But at the same time, I personally, for me, I'm not investing in something like that, because I want to invest in something that gives me dividend. That's because of my investment profile, right? I'm looking for something that would have a bit of growth and give dividends or interest or whatever. Now, these folks who are invested in it, I found out that they are really deeply invested in the concept of Bitcoin. He said to me, listen, I'm going to pass this on to my children. And that when I saw that, I said, listen, I'm not going to continue this conversation any further. We started talking about the weather, and the Raptors and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into this Bitcoin conversation. I've learned now, when it comes to this Christmas conversation, stick to simple conversations about family and how things are going and that. But I am not getting into this Bitcoin conversation anymore at these Christmas parties, because this is now like a religion, and for me, when I invest based on rational thought and thinking about something, thinking it through. Sometimes, I lose money, but what I want to know is that I thought it through and that there's some basis to what I invested in. But these folks nowadays, guys, all I can say is, I go on Twitter and I see some of it looks like, people are some are FUD. Like, people say, what I'm doing here is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But on the other side, you have guys who are pumping this thing, telling people that this thing is going to go to 100,000. This is what they think it is. That's the thing that concerns me the most, because so much folks, got in at a year ago, and what's happened to them now. And I'm concerned for myself. As I said, this is not a channel that gives investment advice, but for me, I'm staying away from this item. Thanks, guys.